Test, test. Alrighty, guys. So, it's been a while. This has been a lot to get to record this other podcast. So, let me start. For those that maybe this is your first time seeing me, my name's Jaysee. I'm the owner of Altamont Family Hearing, and I've been having a lot of fun on social media as the bald hearing guy. And I started this channel, Wax and Whiskey, to talk about just some of the crazy things that happen in our office. Like, I found myself really just talking about patient stories, crazy things, things that boil my blood, things that excite me. And I was like, you know what? It's very lonely in the audiology practice in the office, other than like your staff and my wife. And there's so many providers that find this stuff relatable, and we all go through the same. And maybe you're a patient who's been experiencing the same, or you're someone considering hearing aids or audiology in general and services and or entrepreneurship. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, just the journey of being an entrepreneur and hearing healthcare in general. I try very much. This is not going to be like my normal self. If you've seen my content at in the office, that's another hat that I wear. Like right now I am clocked out. And one of the best things that I like to do, in the reason it's called Wax and Whiskey, is we're going to sip on some whiskey. So I'm going to take a sip. I'm going to tell you about this first because I'm really excited to share this story about the bourbon before I get into the other stuff. And just a little sneak peek. What we're going to talk about today is kind of like political or politically correct. And I don't know. Let's get into it. But first, I'm going to take the sip. This is always such a good time. So today, I am going to be talking about this bourbon, Uncle Nearest. One of the coolest things, I have a lot of stories with this bourbon. It's not my first time trying it. And for those that have seen the other episodes, I'm really just trying to figure out what bourbons I like what do I like, what don't I like, what's good, what's bad. I don't know all the things, but I'm having a good time finding out what I do and don't like. And this is one that a patient of mine, Brandon, if you watch this, I'm not going to say his whole name, but I know he'd give me permission to shout him out because he's the one that's been putting me on, and he's someone that I connected really well with. And Brandon has taken me down a path of some bourbons, and he's the reason why I went into, I just told him I like some old fashions. We connected and we're talking about what he likes, and he recommended Uncle Nearest. I bought it before. I loved it. The bottle goes for around $50 here in Central Florida, around 45, 55, somewhere in that range, right? I didn't know that there was such a strong story with this bourbon, though. This is, out of everything that I've tried so far, I have to say this is my favorite. This is an easy go-to. It's that one that it's like, you know what? I don't want to experiment with something new. I'm going to go back to what's tried and true. And I didn't know it had a story. So I'm going to give you the brief because I looked it up. I had read in the back they do share their story. I'm going to make a long story short. This is the first known African-American master distiller. And he worked with Jack Daniels, for Jack Daniels. And it's in their books. It's in their bios. It's like, this is someone that wasn't tucked in the history books. It was more, and he's almost praised in Jack Daniels' lineage and in their story and their, in their history. And over time, this person, oh man, I'm forgetting her name right now. It'll hit me later. So this woman discovers the story. She's going deep. She's been on Forbes. They're $1 billion company now. And pretty much it was all about hey, this was the master distiller that helped come up with this formula. He was a slave, and his family has kept his recipe and kept his story generations over generations. And now it's pretty much saying, hey, this is what we do. And it is a beautiful, here it is. No, that's not her. Anyways, so it's they've won awards, they've done all these things, and I didn't know. I just knew that I liked it, right? And then I'm like, this was a very good bourbon. It's been recommended to me when I go to Total Wine and everything, and they've grown massively, and it's awesome because it's them just discovering in history books hey, this person deserves recognition. And then they opened up this distillery, and now they are using this recipe and exploding. And so the other day I would go to Longhorn, and I happened to be there. I was waiting on some food. My wife and I were just going to have a dinner night and stay home. We put the girls down. We were just going to hang out. And while I'm waiting for my dinner, there was a delay, whatever. I'm waiting at the bar, and I see another version. It had a black label. I think it was called Premium. And I told the bartender I had an old fashioned, and I was like, you know what? Let me try that. And oh my God, I wish I would have bought that one. I think that's another tier up, but it was beautiful. And I had it neat as I'm having it here. It is so good by itself. Do not put this in an old fashioned. Do not mix this. You enjoy this here, maybe on the rocks. I haven't gotten into like put the water in and let it breathe and let it do all these other things. I haven't done that. But such a good bourbon. Like if you're like, I don't know, I just want to try a few things, buy the Buffalo Trace that everyone buys. It is very good. Actually, I don't even want to say that. It's just it's gotten like a negative reputation in the community of like, in bourbons of like this is the thing that everyone buys, but it's a great value. But this is one. If you want to switch it up or try something different, this is one. It's so smooth. And so today, now we're going to get into politics, sort of. Not presidential. Don't worry, we're not going to go. I'm never going to go down that. I have no interest in going down that conversation. There was a long time that I was joking with my friends, and they've said like, "Oh, Jaysee's going to run for mayor," because I talk to everyone in my community. I've connected with a lot of small businesses. I'm having fun being an entrepreneur and connecting with other people, right? And it was like a joke, or it's been an inside joke. But something happened in audiology, and that is SB 126 HB 101. I'm going to give you the summary. One of the largest manufacturers of hearing aids, WSA Audiology, that's Signia and Widex, they're merged as one company. They, out of left field, say, we want to put a bill out there with a company named Hear.com. I'm going to tell you more about Hear.com in a moment. And if you're a provider, you're already rolling your eyes. I can already feel it. I can see it. I can feel it. So if you don't know, there's actually people that don't know this because maybe they work at like a large corporation. Maybe they're like at Here USA where I used to work, or a Miracle Ear or Beltone, and they're just doing their job and going through their motions, but they don't know the things that are happening behind the scenes. And I think that if I was an employee at a job, I wouldn't be as aware of these things that are happening. But this bill comes out to allow for it was a bill being presented to Senate to allow for mail order prescription hearing aids. So meaning you have a hearing loss and you just order them online and they ship them to your home and they say, well, we're going to do a screening over telehealth and then we're going to program them and you can buy them. There's so many reasons why that is unsafe, why that is currently unlawful, completely unlawful in the state of Florida. And when this came out, I'm like, that's impossible. Like, how could anyone authorize this? Once I started asking around, it turns out these people have really deep pockets, and they've been lobbying and paying these people, these senators, and paying to present this in court. And it was going through the motions. Today is April 25th, 2025. So we have won one round of this battle, but but let me tell you more about this. Whenever we find out, we go to different providers and we're like, hey, we got to talk to our local representatives. We got to send them letters. We got to tell them why this is unsafe. We need ear, nose, and throat practices. We need people to voice, hey, you can miss significant health concerns. You can improperly fit hearing aids. You can, hurt people by not giving them the right amount of amplification. There is a reason why this is a prescribed thing, right? And I'm sorry, guys, I'm not trying to get boring. I know I get into this in like my work-related life, and this is about work, but the gist of it is, as I'm going through this, there's so many people that are upset, right? Like, they're so mad. They're writing me on LinkedIn because they see my videos. I did a video trying to rally all hearing care providers, audiologists, and hearing aid specialists to come together and for us to talk and for us to just spread the word and say, hey, this cannot pass. There is no way. It's unsafe for so many people, even children that were targeted or allowed to have been fit under the verbiage that they had in the Senate. I write my local senator, Senator Jason Broder of Seminole County, and I write him. So I write him an email, right? And I'm like, okay, this is my first time doing anything political. Like, guys, in high school, I did like a little law class and I was on a debate team, and that was like, I thought I was going to be an attorney, but that was like the extent of anything political, anything like that. But I write this man this long email saying, hey, this is why it's unsafe. You may not know all the ins and outs. Let me explain this to you in a professional way, from a provider standpoint, why this can't pass. He responds with the most generic answer that you can tell was like copy paste from the lobbyist of Hear.com in response, because there are providers that are doing this, and it was so generic and so plain. I was happy to see that he responded, right? But then I'm like, there is no way that this is a real human being giving me this response. He's either extremely ignorant to what it is that we do, and that could be, or he's just being like, he's a puppet, right? Like someone is pulling his strings in this. And I write him back a very long, very professional. I didn't cross the line. I didn't say anything. And I'm like, here's why all of the things that you have just said are incorrect. and no response, crickets, right? And while this is going on, all the other providers that I know, like on LinkedIn, they're writing their people, they're upset. We have Florida Academy of Audiology finally letting providers know, hey, this is happening, voice your concerns. The Florida Hearing Society also, they're apparently working behind the scenes, but as providers, we're like, we don't know what's going on. Like, this is literally going through 100 miles an hour, and none of the people that are on the front lines that are working with the hearing impaired that can explain to them like how this can go wrong are in this conversation. Like, that's the part that blows my mind. Like, the people that need to be here talking about this are nowhere to be found they're not in the room, right? This reminds me of like the Hamilton song, like, I just want to be in the room when it happens, something like that. So we just want to be in the room, right? Like, we just want to be there and be like, guys, you can't do this. Like, grandma, grandpa are not going to be okay under this model, right? So all these people are upset, and then people start going, oh, you know what? I'm going to boycott this brand. I'm going to boycott that brand. I'm not going to fit this. I'm not going to fit that. And they're telling me all these things privately, but no one is saying anything publicly. While I'm doing this publicly, I get reached out from one of the manufacturers. I won't name them. But again, I'm getting reached out, and actually consistently, which again, I thought like, man, this is really cool. Like, they care about what it is that I think. But all they were doing was like damage control. Like, all they were doing was picking up the phone. Hey, every time someone's online saying this can't happen, this and that, they're trying to ease it up and say like, don't worry, we're on your side. We think that the provider is the best way. Then why are you putting a bill through that undermines the professional to fit your model to sell more hearing aids? Like, at the end of the day, these companies that are making the hearing aids, they're just saying, well, if we don't send them to the practice, we can mail it to their house, and then this person can be fitted right away. And that was crazy to me. Sorry, we have some wind coming in. I don't know if the microphone's going to pick it up. I probably made it worse. Yeah, give me a second. So I think that it's, this is really good stuff. I don't even know that I've had more than one drink on the Wax and Whiskey. One, this is a good subject. Two, this is a great bourbon. It's a great bourbon. Whatever it is that you're sipping on, if it's wine, water, soda, cheers to you guys. Cheers to health to everybody. And so all these people are doing the damage control. Like, all these people are coming in and calling and saying like, no, that's not what we represent. They even go as far as like writing a letter. And at the same time, they're still pushing this bill. Like, it's almost like, let me tell you what you want to hear so that you can stand down. Like, this is 100% what I got. This is my perception. Let me try to keep you entertained so you can stand down, so that you don't keep creating an uproar in your community and coming against us, so this bill can go silently. Like, if people aren't writing their local representatives nonstop, and it got to the point that, I mean, I was writing everybody. I emailed everybody in the state of Florida, just trying to educate them on what's going on, right? Like, if we're not doing that, if we're not making noise, they won't hear it. And if they don't hear it, there's no pun here, but it just fit. So, the pun was unintentional. So, if we're not making noise, they're not hearing it, right? So, if they're not hearing it, what happens is they can go and they just submit this bill and they have their way. And all of a sudden, boom, patients are still going to come see me. Patients are still going to Google who's the best person in our area, and they're going to find Jaysee, Altamont Family Hearing, or whoever, whatever provider you are in your area, they're going to find you and go to you. But so many people are going to get an ad that says, don't go through your hearing care provider. We can give it to you for 30% less, or whatever the verbiage is. And seniors fall for all this stuff. Scams and all these things, they're targeted towards seniors because they're very naive and very gullible, because they grew up in a time of trust. It's so sad, but like, it's a beautiful thing that just doesn't work today. Like, they grew up in a time that you would like trust your neighbor, trust your person, so they just fall to so many things. Like, oh, but they told me that it'd be da 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 da, and then they fall for these things, and they're in the crosshairs for these things. The part that gets me upset with the politics, let's say, of this subject is all of these providers, all of these people that are upset like I am, telling me all the things that I want to hear, that I'm agreeing with behind the scenes. Like, no one's publicly saying, I'm not fitting any of these people's products until they get their act right, because they want to, and I'm guilty of this, and because they want to preserve a professional relationship. Like, as far as I've said is WSA Audiology, Signia, Widex. I have a hard time. Like, I'm a business owner. I work with all 6 leading manufacturers in the world. Signia and Widex are one of them, or 2 of them. They're one umbrella, but I've gone behind the scenes as far as to say like, okay, I'm not going to fit their products until this passes, until I reevaluate with myself. And since it started, I haven't ordered any products. But so many people are saying this, but they won't say it publicly out loud because they have a business relationship. It's like, it's bad for your business. Like, no one wants to burn a bridge. Like, at the end of the day, that's sort of what it is, in myself included, right? Because tomorrow I could have a patient situation where Signia and Whitex's product is the best thing for them. But I really don't align with all the things that they're doing right now. Like, they are as greedy as it can get. They're in a majority of the managed care companies, and under this model, managed care, for those that don't know, audiology is like, you can go online, your insurance has partnered with an online discount company who then has providers in their network. So you do go see a provider, but you buy it through this online discount thing that gives you discounted services. That's the quick. It's not a good deal for a majority of people. Sometimes people do get a better scenario than purchasing them retail outright. So that's the probably the fastest summary of third party. At the end of the day, it's not as good as it sounds, and usually the patient is left. They're the ones that aren't getting the best value, but they're being sold a dream, and sometimes it works, sometimes it's good. But the so Signia and Whitex, they're owners of True Hearing, which is one of the largest third-party networks. Hearing Care Solutions as well. They're merging now, and what this would mean, and they own Here.com, so this is where Here.com and this mix gets in. So they own both of them, meaning if this bill passes, they can say for those two huge channels that now they're actually, some of them are merging and becoming a bigger umbrella, they'd be able to just ship devices to patients, and it's a monster, right? Like, they are such a large entity that they can get very powerful very quickly, and they already are, but more quickly if this bill were to pass. And those are the things that are like, man, that's a lot of people that are going to be underserved. That's a lot of people that are going to have a less than optimal patient experience because their health insurance plan will tell them, hey, True Hearing is our discounted provider, and True Hearing will tell them, oh, we'll just mail you these hearing aids, you put them on, you're going to put this camera in your ear, and this should work. And so, every provider that I've spoken to has been so against this, but they won't all opt out. They won't all say, we're not, okay, then you know what, we're not going to support them. We're going to support Starkey. By the way, Starkey Hearing, if you're considering hearing aids, Starkey hearing aids are one of the best hearing aids that are on the market right now. They're made in the USA, so if we have a tariff conversation down the road, they're probably going to be the most safe in those conversations. And this is me speculating. I don't know anything about, the what parts come from outside or not. There's probably chips and things that come from China that are assembled here. Who knows? But anyways, Starkey's one of the leaders in the hearing aids, and they're the only manufacturer that was there fighting for patients, fighting for the hearing care providers, saying, we only believe in one model, and that is the patient comes in, they see a provider, they get the best hearing healthcare that they can get. And I got to give them kudos. I got to give you a round of applause. As a provider, I haven't done as much business with Starkey in the past. I've done it here and there. And this is really just something that completely shifts my focus of like, you got to ask yourself, like, are you going to support the person that's going behind you, like stabbing you in your back? It's almost like being friends with somebody and you're telling them all your personal business and they're over there, like, just harming you with what you tell them. It's a bad relationship. And that's what's happening right now with WSA Audiology and audiology in general. So all this happening in the back and forth, like I've spoken to board members of the Florida Hearing Society a lot. I mean, it was phone call after phone call, and I was coming home and like people were like, man, good job advocating and saying all these things. It was exhausting though. Like, it's been so tiring. Give me a second. So tiring that I needed to book a vacation, and that's why I'm wearing this Mickey shirt. My family and I are actually going to be going on a Disney cruise. As you know, for those that have been watching more than one episode, I'm a Disney dad. I'm a girl dad. This is our first Disney cruise, and I can't wait. But anyways, so it was so much that I was like, you know what? I need a break. So we're going on vacation, and that is awesome. But so it was so tiring that I was like, there's no way that someone enjoys doing this day in and day out, right? Like, there is no way that there's like a politician out there that this is me, right? I could be wrong, and they're like, live for this. Like, I'm going to go fight and like just be on the crosshairs all day, every day, and having to plead my point and all this and that. I mean, maybe people thrive under that. But for me, this is like where I've discovered, like, man, I don't know. When it comes to the political side of the world, I think I wouldn't want that job. That's crazy. I can't imagine this senator. Like, where do you? And I had the only response that I had was from Senator Jason Broder. But at what point are you losing your personality, your moral fiber? At what point are you not just a puppet? Like, well, this is what I gotta say, and this is what my party wants me to do, and this is what's going. Like, there's a lot of powerful people, and money talks, right? And like, at what point do you just become another entity that's being used to fit somebody else's agenda? And this is, I could be so wrong with this, and that's okay. Like, I'm over here, I'm keeping it raw with you guys, and like, this is how I feel, and these are the things that get me excited, upset, and all these things. But like, I can't imagine having a clock in every day and like just fitting somebody else's agenda like that. And and I try to keep it real with my people. That's why I do the videos on social media. That's why I'm having fun, like, doing all these things. Like, I try to keep it real with my people. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's crazy to think that this is happening, and it's been a really frustrating situation. And hopefully, what I think is going to be happening in the future is, I think that these politicians, so as of right now, it didn't make it to the House. I believe that it's just, it hasn't been presented. We like made it another round, if that makes any sense. And I think that what's going to happen now is in the state of Florida. Give me 1 second. I'm going to see about a technical difficulty. So it seems like I may have lost some video in the middle of this. Alrighty, so yeah, it seems like oh shit. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and call this the cursed episode. That's going to be the name of this one. And let me tell you the story why. So I just paused a second ago. I'll finish that story in a moment. But I've had network issues. My camera has fallen twice. I just now, while trying to set up, it's about to fall again. So yeah, we're having a windy day. My camera's falling over. I almost dropped the bourbon. I dropped my cup that spilled a little bit of bourbon on my laptop that I'm processing this on. And I'm going to go ahead and end this video. You guys got my point, right? I'm happy that I get to do what I do every day. I would not want to be a politician. This is where I'm going to close. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy time. 2025 has been a rocky start for audiology. So I think that what's going to happen in the future is they're going to keep trying to push this. They're going to keep trying to probably deregulate audiology. And I think I'm losing my camera again. This is crazy. Yeah, I was losing my camera all over again. So if they lower the standards of care by law, this is what I think. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. And by lowering the standards that are set in place right now, that's the law, then they'll have an easier position saying, hey, well, this is why over-the-counter or mail-order hearing aids are going to work, right? By the way, we have over-the-counter that's existed that we were against too, but and haven't really done much when it comes to market share, when it comes to helping people that need help, because they were just like amplifiers. And now there's a bunch of Chinese companies that are selling these amplifiers as over-the-counter hearing aids, and people are getting ripped off day in and day out because they're spending $100, $200, $300, whatever the infomercial tells you that's going to clear your hearing. They're just throwing that money away, lighting it on fire, thinking that that's a hearing aid, and then ultimately they come back to our office $300 less, upset, and then finally ready to get the real hearing healthcare that they deserve. They're going to try to push those mail order hearing aids that way, and then when they do that, we're going to have to keep representing. We're going to have to keep yelling and making some noise and saying like, hey, this is not okay, like this is not right. And with that, I'm signing off. Guys, whatever it is that you do in life, do it with integrity. Whatever it is that you do in life, love what you do. And that's mainly it. There's a lot of mediocre stuff that happens out in the world, and like I can rant about this all day, but who wants to hear about that? But just, yeah, I'm going to stick to hearing aids and helping people hear their absolute best and not politics. And I have guests that are going to be coming. So if you like this sort of content, I know today was a lot because we were talking about politics and was very hearing aid and audiology related with some great bourbon. Get that. By the way, this is not sponsored. I know this might sound like a commercial. It's not. Like, I'm nobody when it comes to, especially when it comes to bourbon. Like, when it comes to audiology, I got some traction, and thank you if you're taking some time to listen or watch this video either way. But so I just genuinely am enjoying this bourbon. So I strongly recommend that Uncle Nearest Green was the name of the master distiller that was a slave of Jack Daniels. I'm so happy to hear this story and to be able to drink your bourbon today in 2025. What a time. All right, guys. Have a good one. Thank you. And please follow our podcast where we have a lot of exciting things that are planned. And yeah, look forward to connecting with you guys in the future. Take care.